Hi, welcome everyone. My name is Thad Dungan, head of Worldwide Automotive at AWS. It's indeed a pleasure for us to spend some time with you today, wherever and however you're accessing this recording. Today we'll talk about disruption and digital transformation in automotive manufacturing. I've been at AWS for almost 3 years, and prior I spent several years in industry at GM and Delphi, working in manufacturing, supply chain, and in procurement roles, as well as in the enterprise software space at SAP. I'm joined today by not only an important partner, but someone I consider a friend. Saad, can you introduce yourself?
Sure, thanks, Thad. Hello, everyone. It is a pleasure being with you guys today to talk about this important topic. My name is Saad Keenan. I'm a Senior Vice President with Hitachi Vantara, and I lead our automotive practice globally. In that capacity, I work directly with a number of OEMs and first-tier suppliers in addressing many of the disruptions taking place in the automotive industry today. Working with AWS has been a pleasure of mine, and as Thad said, he and I have wound scars from being in the trenches together for quite a time now, working on some disruptors and some key strategic initiatives with both our respective OEM partners as well as first-tier suppliers. When we think about disruption in the automotive industry, there are two buckets that we look at: the customer experience as well as manufacturing. Most organizations and most OEMs are moving from mass production to mass customization, and that fundamentally is affecting the customer experience. Customers are spending most of their time buying the vehicles on their mobile phones. The concept of them walking into a brick and mortar dealer and spending 1, 2, or 3 days looking for a car and test driving a car is long gone. They can accomplish most of that digitally online. And fundamentally, that also has affected the manufacturing process, because now those customers are expecting the future models in many of those manufacturers to correspond to what they're looking for, right? So, when we looked and did a study on the number of 18-year-olds applying, for example, for a driver license, that has dropped significantly from 1980 to 2010. And that certainly affects the units of production and the number of cars that are being produced. And when we think and start thinking about how that affects also things around manufacturing innovation, that feedback from the customer has to roll back into the research and development process. And it has to play a big role in how that vehicle is produced and manufactured. Also, the cost of quality. When you look, for example, last year, the automotive industry spent tens of billions of dollars on the cost of quality, and that has been disrupted significantly by the introduction of technologies that enable the OEMs to trace quality back to the origin of the problem, but also to inspect the quality of parts coming through the supply chain into the manufacturing process through the connected supply chain. We are working with our partners at AWS to address all these disruptions that are taking place in the automotive industry today, but also we're projecting what we're expecting to happen in the next 1 to 3 years in the industry through the utilization of things like flexible factories, introducing AI and ML, not just into the connected car, but also in understanding driver behavior, consumer behavior, and figuring out how the vehicle itself corresponds to environmental variables.
I just really want to emphasize that really all those disruptors, I think, Saad, are, they can transform to opportunities, right? And I'd also like to add that not only as you deploy these digital technologies, that also moving in parallel, you have the physical world of supply chain and manufacturing, I think, that goes with it. Saad, I remember when the two of us met, remember in Southern Cal, for the first time, we both knew that helping our customers was going to be much easier. I knew it with a partner like Hitachi Vantara that's been there and done that. So in November, I think it was last year, we announced a strategic partnership between our two companies that really accelerates and optimizes business outcomes with IoT and AI. In our joint partnership, we'll make Lumada solution portfolio available to all customers on AWS, and we're going to go to market together, and we're working to offer customers actionable insights through Lumada. And I think finally, there'll be opportunities for our two organizations to develop new IoT applications on AWS. Saad, for us at AWS and Automotive, Hitachi Vantara is both a system integrator and an ISV. I think we've talked about that extensively. The industrial software portfolio, combined with the breadth and depth of AWS portfolio of services, we're able to strengthen a much broader IoT offering for our combined customers. When you talk about AWS and automotive, a lot of companies, it's fascinating. They think only of AWS as a technology platform. And in most cases, they aren't even aware that we're in automotive. But we dispel that. I mean, for over 14 years, AWS is probably it is the most broadly adopted global cloud platform. We understand our customers' business. We work with all the top automotive OEMs, all the tier 1 suppliers, according to the Automotive News top 100 supplier list. We work with dealer groups. We also work with auto tech firms who support the OEMs and the tier 1s in providing very customer-focused solutions. We are doing this across a host of meaningful workloads like connected, autonomous, and today we'll talk about the industrial workloads. We've got a team that averages well over 20 years of experience across the automotive value chain, and we're leveraging over 175 services to support those kinds of automotive workloads that you see at the top. And of course, you see a wonderful list of select AWS automotive customers. Now, when you look at the value chain, most automotive companies are siloed organizations, and those siloed organizations are across a lot of business functions like manufacturing, product design, which includes R&D and engineering, sales and marketing, even connected car. For most companies, this organizational structure is also reflected in the way they wrangle or manage data. And they do it across a variety of different data silos that exist in all of these, as you see here, across all of these different lines of business. So due to time, we'll just look at a couple. Starting in the upper left, moving right, there's product design and engineering. And where AWS provides all the compute, the storage, the machine learning, and other services to help accelerate the product design and engineering, and nearly unlimited on-demand compute capacity and machine learning tools to also support simulation activities or workloads, for autonomous vehicle development or computational flow dynamics or aerodynamic workloads, and even computer-aided engineering or crash sim. Now, in production and supply chain, we have AWS IoT, there's data analytics, machine learning. And when you combine that with Amazon's expertise in freight, fulfillment, areas of sortation and logistics and robots, it really starts to help customers optimize the manufacturing and supply chain operations with smart factory and smart supply chain solutions. And I think everyone knows that we operate one of the largest and most complex supply chains in the world, and it's directly applicable, I think, to the automotive industry to optimize operations and leverage the data insights and machine learning to help companies match production, with their orders and their demand forecasts. And then I'd like to maybe close with just this piece that's important, is that Amazon also provides an unmatched variety of customer-facing, services. So, not to mention products like Alexa, Audible, music, video, and Fire TV. So All of these things together, coupled and combined with AWS, creates this integrated application, or these value-added services inside and outside the vehicle that can be integrated for differentiated customer experiences.
Thanks, Thad. And I think, you mentioned a couple of really key important aspects, Thad, here. When we looked at the partnership and a ton of the services that you guys are provided, and not just from an infrastructure standpoint, but the enablement within the vehicle or the in-cabin experience, as well as streamlining the value chain, that what you call the value chain in automotive, and driving the digital thread across that value chain, utilizing our OT expertise and certainly our IT expertise, but combine that with the AWS platform and building a number of core business-oriented services on top of that platform through Lumada, and making that native to AWS has been tremendous for our customers. And Thad, you and I are talking to a number of customers today about bringing that to the time to value is certainly something we're measuring, how effective the solution set is to our customers, shortening the time to market, but also one critical component that you talked about with these silos is breaking down the organizational barriers that have stood in the way of advancing a lot of these business and technology applications. Certainly, when you look at this slide, we've been in the automotive industry since 1930. This has been core to what we do. And more recently, we launched STIMO, which stands for Advanced Sustainable Technologies for Mobility, which focuses on powertrains, engines, and electric engine management systems, chassis from an autonomous driving or advanced driver assistance systems, connected technologies, driving control systems, as well as aftermarket from applied technologies, industrial equipment, and powertrain products. So that business covers a lot of the value chain, and the knowledge we take from being actual manufacturers. We are starting in the sense that we've been deploying these technologies in-house, kind of like what AWS did with AWS, which was they start as storage to enable their business, and then deploying that to their customers to help them out. We're doing the same exact thing. As a matter of fact, the World Economic Forum declared our manufacturing operation a lighthouse last year for deploying a lot of these technologies in-house, right? So that's also that part of the value proposition is that, listen, what we're doing with you guys and facing the market with is not just a bunch of PowerPoint presentations, right? We're deploying a lot of that in-house, and we're taking it out to the marketplace, right?
Yep.
But also, a lot of people don't know that we are the 6th largest IT company in the world, being Hitachi, right? So from storage to control systems to actual business applications that enable the automotive industry to be more productive, and then marrying that cyber and physical aspects of this vehicle as it moves through the production line to make it better, faster, cheaper is a core competency. What we're talking about this is about a partnership philosophy that we combined, which is all about being stronger together, and how we face the market, as I talked about, in terms of our capabilities and AWS's capabilities together, in forming a formidable partnership to bring to bear to our clients. And I emphasize the clients here, that as Thad will tell you, that everything we do here is focusing and centered around our clients, right? Hitachi will lead with an outcome-based approach designed specifically to reduce time to value, which we talked about for our clients, utilizing AWS's technology. This approach brings together our SMEs in the automotive industry and design thinking led capability, together with Hitachi's technology IB and IP here being embodied in the Lumada framework. And the goal here is really to accelerate our approach to value realization, right? Hitachi's technology is optimized for cloud-based delivery via AWS, and we're working on deploying more and more of our what we call business capabilities embodied in Lumada natively on AWS. As a matter of fact, more of that will be declared for or released for general consumption here in June. And these solution cores are going to be able to be deployed on AWS SageMaker. So if you think about that, it's kind of three-pronged approach, right? We bring the consulting expertise on our manufacturing know-how. Our Lumada software will realize those, and then we will deploy those natively on the AWS cloud, which makes it much easier for consumption by our targeted clients in the marketplace. This right here is what we are terming as the core logical architecture of the partnership, right? On the left-hand side are the core, calling themes or business areas being quality, production, maintenance, and supply chain. And we actually added worker safety, health and safety after we built this slide. And on the right-hand side, all the way on the right-hand side, are the core technologies, enabling technologies by AWS. And then, fundamentally what we're talking about here is utilizing the core IoT capabilities of AWS, both on the edge and in the cloud. In the edge, in terms of utilizing Greengrass as the core pipeline for standardizing the data coming into the AWS cloud, but also feeding into the business applications that we are building. And these are here, if you look at asset provisioning, if you look at predictive solution cores, these will be fed through Greengrass. And fundamentally, one of the biggest issues that the industry faces today is, or biggest decisions in manufacturing as it relates to digital transformation is, hey, what do I do on the edge versus what do I do in the cloud, right? And that's where you see the arrow around edge processing, where we are going, like, for example, things around worker safety. If an incident happens on the shop floor, I want to be able to take an actionable action based on that right away. I don't want that to go to the cloud and back, right? So these are some of the things that we're doing together, and we're building these solution cores utilizing the solution concepts, as well as the ideation around some of the future things we talked about in terms of utilizing AI and ML, and then deploying those up utilizing our business solution cores. Hosted, all of that will be hosted natively on the AWS cloud. Chad, one of the things that we worked with you guys on in this whole concept of what is the maturity model look for the industry. This maturity model, when we built it, is based on practical experience, working with your experts, working with our customers, as well as looking internally at our manufacturing plants spread throughout the world. And fundamentally, the basic concept here is kind of twofold. How do I move from just connecting my devices and starting to pull data out of it to more of a symbiotic stage where customer feedback is included in my manufacturing process, but also how do I move from just visualizing the data to taking actionable insights based on that visualization or based on the analysis of that data, right? That's the fundamental concept here that we worked on. So 1 to 2, if you move from level 1 to level 2, it's all about gaining visibility and how the various assets are performing, and consolidated that into a single pane of glass, single view. 2 to 3, how do I utilize the consolidated data and visibility to information to start predicting issues related to either how the product quality is or the asset's failure. And 3 to 4 is fundamentally, how do I start including the customer feedback into my R&D process? And again, how do I move into a state where actionable insights are actually part of what I do? For example, just a simple example, if my blanking machine or stamping machine is creating molds with breaks in them, I want to be able to go and issue a command back to that machine in an automated manner to stop production. This is a similar view of the previous slide, where you have on your left hand the kind of the various stages of the maturity model, and in the middle the actual maturity levels. And then what we've started doing is we've started actually taking our business applications that we developed on top of the AWS platform and started slotting them in terms of each one of these levels, so we can show you as a customer the types of things that you need to do in order to advance from one stage to another. So basically, to address the manufacturing operational challenges, we have a portfolio approach that helps accelerate the business value and at the same time improve the organizational maturity across levels 1 to 4. And the central idea is to accelerate the descriptive and the predictive and prescriptive and customer inclusive approach across each one of these critical areas of the manufacturing operations. This slide brings everything together, all right? In terms of, our approach, and what we always recommend is that the approach be business driven, right? So it starts with your KPIs. What is it that I want to influence, whether that increasing my uptime, whether that is improving my weld quality, which tends to be a big problem in the automotive industry, right? First time quality, first time pass, reducing my warranty costs. You start with that as the core foundational reason for going along this journey. And I emphasize the concept of this being a journey. And then once you've done that, then you start saying, here are the use cases that I'm going to define. Let me just give you an example. For one of our customers that we're working with Thad and his team on, weld quality was a big problem for them. As a matter of fact, last year they scrapped 2,000 units as a result of poor weld quality on their chassis. Once we've identified that as a problem, then we started figuring out what are the use cases that we have to deploy in their respective organization in order to improve that, right? But once we started kind of peeling the onion, we started finding many issues within their organization from a manufacturing standpoint and the way they were organized around their manufacturing process, right? So what we've done is we went through this process of identifying all the use cases that they're going to execute over a period of 3 years in order for them to move along this journey. And fundamentally, we started out by weld quality as the low-hanging fruit. We start with that as the underlying foundation, and we allow that to determine what the logical and the physical architecture of the solution needs to look like. And that is really critical and important, because what you don't want to do is you don't want to build your architecture based on a single use case or 2 use cases. And then as your business needs expand, then you start changing your architecture. That tends to be very costly and very cumbersome. And if it has to do with your production lines, it might be disruptive from a business perspective, right? So when you take a holistic approach, it gives you the flexibility and adaptability. And from an implementation standpoint, we go bottoms up, right? So you want to start with ensuring that your physical devices are all connected, that you've got the appropriate controllers in place. You got to ensure that your edge computing is in place so that you can do certain things that we talked about before in terms of worker safety or quality. And then the data lake in the plant is something that we certainly recommend, so that you can have an operational visibility of the plant operations at the plant level, and then the business applications that ride on top of that, and collaboration across the entire business unit. So this is kind of how we approach it, both top down from a business perspective and bottoms up from an implementation perspective. This slide talks about the benefits that we've seen. These are numbers that have been validated through implementations that we've done at our clients, right? For example, the impact on safety, we've deployed a solution for one of our customers where we deployed a video solution as well as digital markers for perimeter on their shop floor that would alert the foreman if an employee or if a worker on the shop floor basically goes above those. And it basically shows that the possibility of an accident is high, right? And at that point, they take corrective action, right? And that, what we've seen is that reduced the accidents anywhere between 20 to 80% on the shop floor, right? Impact on quality is huge. And so we've deployed solutions for inline. We talked about the weld quality solution, and then end of line inspection. We have a solution working with AWS as well that utilizes a number of different technology to measure the thickness of the paint. Normally, the paint is 5 layers on a vehicle. It measures the thickness of the paint, and it gives the quality inspector a preview of is that paint valid or not? Is it good or not? And we've seen that having a huge impact on the quality of the vehicle as it rolls off the production line. Impacts on delivery, promissory note to the dealer is something that we've worked on, but also dynamic scheduling of resources on the shop floor by connecting to the scheduling system is something that we've done, and we've seen 15 to 40% improvement on that. And then, in terms of the impact on cost itself, dynamic scheduling, we talked about the effect of that on quality, as well as predictive maintenance and guided repair. This is from the perspective of some of the things that we're doing, working with Thad and AWS in terms of factory of the future opportunities. Thad talked about AI. He talked about virtual reality and simulation. And what we're doing right now is we're using mixed reality tools. For example, we're deploying a solution using VR for quality, so that remote inspectors can actually, through a different types of virtual reality glasses, can look at the quality of the vehicle as it rolls off of the production line without actually being there, right? This is really helping a lot of the OEMs and first-tier suppliers have, kind of 1 foot in today and 1 foot in the future.
Thanks, Saad. An excellent and comprehensive review of our partnership. In the industry perspective, I think it's excellent. Together we drive success for our customers. So to wrap up and summarize, why is this collaboration, this strategic collaboration, important for our customers? Well, number one, customers in this industrial space, they need actionable insights, and they need to pull them from their operations, their factories, and do it across multiple locations to improve efficiencies and reduce cost and improve profitability. Number two, I think you can really rapidly develop connected solutions and co-create. And I think that's the value that this opportunity brings together, both with Hitachi, Vantara, and AWS, and especially in those use cases like Saad just walked us through. And finally, Hitachi and Hitachi's and AWS's IP delivers automotive and IT and OT integration experience. Combined native AWS services supported by manufacturing edge, cloud, and analytic architectures. So this wraps up our presentation, Saad. So I want, on behalf of both of us, I want to say thanks to all those listening in. Saad, any last statements or thoughts here?
No, thanks, Thad, for the opportunity, and look forward to everybody listening to us today. Hopefully this was beneficial to you.
Yeah, thanks again.